Welcome back to the Let's Talk Vibes podcast, where we speak soul contracts, illuminating the path to higher understanding. I'm your host, Lauren,
And I'm Yiannah.
and today we are joined by a very special guest, Angelic Jeanette. She hoorah, say hello.
Hello, beloveds.
And Jeanette serves as High Priestess, Divine Channel for the Angelic Host and Galactic Star Realms, Ambassador for the Galactic High Council and the Star Mother Council. She's the founder of the Golden Universe Ascension Academy, guardian of the Golden Rose, and founder of the Golden Rose Priestess Temple of New Earth. Triple Aquarian New Earth leader, Ascension mentor, multi-dimensional mastery empowerment coach, quantum light healer, and international speaker. I mean,
Ooh.
Jeanette, you have quite the resume here, my darling.
Goodness me. Do we do all that?
Well, just from chatting to you, Yiannah and I met you through a group coaching program where we're actually having our coach Jenny on the podcast very soon. Very excited about that. But you introduced yourself as part of that program and you mentioned that you could remember your own birth. And Jan and I looked at each other like, we are having
She's
this
gonna
lady
come
on the
on.
podcast. She has a story. And, you were just saying to us just now, you have been on this journey for your entire life. So it is not surprising at all. You have all these accomplishments under your belt.
So,
Tell us a
yeah.
little bit more about you and about, that journey that led you to having this resume.
Thank you so much, and just honoured to be here. And bless you, and bless all your beloved audience. And happy to be here and to share. I think it's important, isn't it? Community and unity, and that's what 2024 and birthing of the new earth is all about. So we're coming together a lot more now, and so I love sharing, and you may just share one little thing that could really help somebody in their life. And so, yeah, I do actually remember waiting in what looked like a big waiting room full of light with some other beautiful souls waiting almost in line to incarnate. And then the next thing I remember was this big, almost flash, like a big whoosh of bright white light, and then coming out into the light. I was actually born at home in front of the fire, so firelight, and I just remember arriving and almost being a little bit dazed, like, oh, right, okay, I'm here, right. And then it just, as the time progressed, started getting visits on a night. Most children don't want to go to bed, but I used to love going to bed. I was like, I'm one of 5 siblings, and my mum said, you were the only one who could not wait to get to bed. So, because I just knew exciting things would happen. And my grandmother was my first spirit guide. She was the first one to come forth and start to give me some teachings. And then she introduced a man who was a bit like Santa Claus with a long white beard, long white hair. And he said, I am your spiritual father. I am here to help you. And then he started to teach me from a very young age how to spin my Merkaba light body and how to leave my physical body and journey. So as time progressed and I received more of these teachings and getting a little bit older, we started to go to other planets, other star systems, and meet with other beings. And then the Angelic Realms arrived. I was obviously ready for the next stage. And it was like the big proverbial bright white light in my bedroom, like, ta-da! I thought, wow, this is not the way my usual spirit guides and galactics come in, and this big gleaming angel of light who now I know is was Archangel Gabriel. Just
Mm.
stepped out of the light, and I got some more teachings, and then started to journey with the Angelic Realms. Told I was the Elohim, part of the Emerald Order, and it progressed, and I was just having a great time, loving it. And then when I got into my teens, it started to shift a little bit. I think they wanted me to step into my purpose, my sole purpose for being here more. So I started to receive a lot of visions. I was giving readings, like oracle readings in my teens, and the healing gifts started to be switched on. And yeah, so I had to be careful really, because some of the visions, I wouldn't say they were scary, but they were true, and things happened. So if I just, in innocence as a child, like in innocence, just said, that little girl's going to get run over, which I did one day on the way to school, me
Oh
and my
no.
sister, and she did, but she was okay, fortunately. She had to go to hospital, but she was okay. But then that freaked me out. I'm like, oh my God, how
Yeah.
do I know this, and what can I do with this? I was still very young processing it all. And then so I learned to keep sort of quite a lot of things to myself, because in the classroom, for example, I could just see everybody's. I'm clairvoyant, so I could see everybody's like deceased loved ones and loads of activity, and like experiences running, like videos before my eyes, and I was like, whoa, and I was always known as the daydreamer, but of course I wasn't daydreaming. I was totally awakened and like in an alternate dimensional reality. But yeah, so, and really, it's progressed in that way, got a lot more planetary. I'm called to a lot of planetary ascension missions now to clear energy, clear lines, activate the new golden earth stargates. That's been a big thing. And called out to Mexico and Egypt and Hawaii, Stonehenge, Avebury, Crop Circle, lots of different places around the planet. And I go as guided. I trust my team implicitly. We spent a lot of years building an amazing relationship together. And I used to question a lot, make them prove themselves, prove they were real, pass my tests, but I don't need to do
Yeah.
that anymore. I absolutely trust my team implicitly. And yeah, so they're guiding me on these great ascension adventures. And it's just an honor. It's very humbling to be called to do this work for humanity and the planet. And so, I mean, the big thing as well is helping people unlock their highest soul codes so they can really experience their true authentic self in its full multi-dimensionality. So we all carry codes. So I just help people unlock the codes within, so that they can experience their soul wisdoms, gifts, abilities, and really use those in a very empowered way to help this planet. So that's where I'm at.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, already there's so much that I just want to like dive into. But before I ask you any more questions, I want to just make like a reference to your chart that I think is so interesting that you mentioned when you were younger, you would really make them prove themselves, your team, these angels, you would make them prove themselves. And you're like, I now have learned to trust. And the fact that you have from your birth name, physical karma 4-4, it's all about trust. It's about learning to trust yourself. It's about learning to trust the universe. And so when you mentioned that, I would just went to be like, where's the force in your chart? And the fact that it's your physical karma, I think is just, I get such a perfect example of how one, it really goes to show for people. And Yana and I talk about this all the time. You're not meant to stay stuck. You're not meant to stay in the untrusting. You're meant to learn the lesson that this energy is asking, of you, and that you clearly did. And before I get into some of the other things that you have mentioned and are so fascinating, I can't wait to ask you more. But just, can you talk about that journey of learning to trust?
Yeah, I went through a series of initiations. I was taken to Angelic Realms, Galactic Star Realms, and Inner Earth, and sat in councils. And when I was young, I didn't speak. I had the knowing not to speak. And then as I was awakening more in my multidimensionality, in my true soul essence, then I was allowed to have a voice. And but I was always taught to go within, always go within and find what you are seeking before, if you wanted confirmation externally, then so be it. So I through that process actually of that soul inquiry, I was connecting in and doing soul inquiry from really quite a young age, from my teens, definitely, and learning to trust myself was a huge one, and then learning to trust others sort of was secondary. And it just, I don't know, it just all fell into place. The more I trust myself, then the easier it was for me to be in true divine flow and trust what then was coming from this
Mm-hmm.
great vast Himalaya and from these councils. And
Yeah.
yeah, it I don't know. It was quite easy for me, I think, once I learnt to trust myself.
Absolutely. I can so relate to that. I have fours as my physical talent, and I'm in a personal year four. And I can already see that that's being like a lesson for me this year is my team helping me to trust myself. I think I've talked about this on the podcast already. I've talked to people about it generally. I'm like, my guides are starting to lie to me. I wish seems weird, like a weird thing to say. People will be like, "What? Your guides are lying to you?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I'll it's this moment of me kind of asking a question and already sort of thinking what, knowing what I think the answer will be. And then they give me this other answer. I'm like, well, I felt like it was. And they're like, huh, what did you say? And it's them basically, they are purposely giving me the other answer so that it's like, you already knew. Why were you asking? Right? You already
Yes.
knew. And so they are lying to me as this way of being like, we're not going to just let you come to us for all these answers when you already know them. We're going to this is our process of getting you to learn to check in with yourself and trust that you already know this.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, as
yeah.
souls, we all came here with, with our part to play, a pretty awakened soul, no matter what sort of what time in your life you are awakening. There are so many awakening now, aren't they? And we're in this remembrance of actually that we are multidimensional. A lot of us, from the stars, from source, from oh gosh, all from source, but the angelic realms. You feel different connections and different aspects of your soul awaken at different times, and so whatever we're ready for is what occurs. But you just have to be very present with yourself now, don't you? Absolutely very present, in presence, in terms of every word, thought, action, deed, behavior, response, and it's a very conscious frequency that is flowing around this planet. And our teams are light, big over light, as you know, always knew we would get to this
Mm.
stage of awakening. And there's a lot of talk about the 144,000. Once we get 144,000 awake, we're over the tipping point then, and that's a big catalyst. COVID was a massive catalyst for awakening, even though some people look at it more on the negative side, but it was a massive
Yeah. Yeah.
catalyst for awakening.
My
And
awakening came from that 100%, that time to
yeah,
be inside and reflecting and go within
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't necessarily see it like your guides are lying to you. I think they're showing you the right way.
Yeah. I mean, I say like I don't think it's bad. It's not like they're lying, but
No,
it's like
no.
they're not just giving me these answers. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think, yeah, like you think it would be a yes, so we're going to tell you no, so that you stop and reflect to realize, you know.
Yeah, you
But I
gotta
just say, I say
work for
that.
it a
Yeah.
little, haven't you? Work for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but goodness, that it's just such an amazing time to be incarnate upon this planet, isn't it? Everything's so new. I love the birthing and the rebirthing, and the rebirthing to me every day is a new birthing. You know, every
Mm.
day there's something to learn, there's something to release, there's something to share, there's a new aspect of higher self to bring online. You know, it's like so it's very exciting. And I know it can be a little bit scary for some people, and people are feeling a little bit vulnerable as they're releasing their veils of illusion, and they are letting go of the old ego personas, aren't they? The old personalities are dropping away. They're doing all the shadow work, the deep inner shadow work. So it's like, yeah, you can literally, you know, our hearts are cracking open, and you know, we can feel quite raw, quite vulnerable, like, oh my goodness, we're at a crossroads, or not quite sure about this, but you know, I say this too shall pass, because it does.
Mm-hmm.
And and we move forth, don't we? And these great cosmic alignments, we are like, I don't know whether you're like I, but this year seems to be one great unified cosmic alignment. So with this, like, there's no separation now between the new moon, the full moon, the, you
Yep.
know, the
The
eclipse.
eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. This
I
year has been wild.
I want to mention something. You spoke about your awakening, but then you mentioned how you went within, all this within work. And in your soul contract chart, you actually have two placements of the 15-6. And this 15-6 is all about finding the God within you. Okay. And what happens is, now I associate this 15-6. When I see this somebody's chart, I'm like, oh, this is awakening energy. This is, and I see it, this is my own personal view. I see it where it is this gentle journey of discovering yourself, but then also there's this moment where very quickly you have this quick awakening and things open up. And I've come across this so much lately. And I do get a lot of people who are just starting their journey, and they're like, I need help. I need guidance. Like, I want to keep walking the path. And so what should my next step be? For you, that happened for you at such a young age, which is just so magical. I think a lot of people may have shut it down, right?
Mm,
Because
Yeah.
when you're that
yeah.
young, I don't know anybody that young that follows that and loves to get into it, because there's all this fear. So let me ask you a question. Did your family know that you were experiencing all this? Like, when you were going to bed, did your mother know that you couldn't wait to get into, you know, the dream state or any of that to experience? Or how was that aspect of it?
Well, my mum certainly did, but I shared a bedroom with my sister for years. She was 15 months younger than me, and she'd say, how were you speaking till last night? So it was like there were no secrets in our household, but I used to share a lot with my mum. And in those days, she didn't really understand, but she was super supportive. And she
Mm,
said, you know, you used to describe, like, you know, our great grandmother, for example, we had no photographs of her. And she said, you just described her from a very young age perfectly. She said, so I just couldn't dispute it. She said, I thought, this kid's different. And she said, you literally used to look up at the stars on the night. And she said, I was waiting for the words to come out of you, you know, like, Mummy, when are they coming to take me home? She said, it was just like, you know, just, and just nature. Oh my goodness. I had to be out, and still do have to be out in nature daily. And I had to, like, burn off energy and burn off steam, you know, like running wild and feeling at one with the trees and jumping in the rivers and streams, and just, you know, just really feeling that connection with nature from a very young age. And I'm not even so sure, to be honest, how many of my other siblings were aware. I'm sure they all were, but we didn't really discuss what was going on with me. The most dialogue I had was with mum, and ironic, well, not ironically, but beautifully, as mum developed and as I developed and got older and started to run my own events and my own training and workshops, my mum, I was a full-time teacher working with special educational needs students, teenagers, for 20 years. And so I used to have 6 weeks summer holidays. So it was wonderful. My mum used to come and stay with me and I used to run. Then I could flow, you know, and run my spiritual events when I wasn't at school. And my mum was amazing. She was voyant, audient, sentient, channeling spirit. And it was like I had a huge copper pyramid in the center of the healing room, and I used to get up on a morning and mum would be sat in there meditating. So it's
Wow.
like she always had those beautiful gifts and abilities and wisdoms, and I sort of helped her on my team, helped her to come into her own with those. So yeah, I was very blessed, super blessed. I mean, and in answer to what you were saying, I did try and switch off my abilities for 2 years.
Oh, you
No chance.
did.
Can I
I
ask you
just
why?
because it were getting a bit freaky with the visions, like when that little girl got run over, and I had
Yeah.
a dream, a vision that my sister was run over at a roundabout
Oh.
by a bus, and she just missed it by a whisker and ran home crying to my mum. And I was like, oh, I've just had that vision. I knew it would happen. But then when I got older, obviously, I learned to share the information, you know, in a to the ears that were open to hear. I think the ones who weren't, I learned to sort of, you know, tone it down a bit, keep quiet. You can't just say things in the middle of the classroom, for example, with the other students. You know, when I was a child myself, and most certainly when I was
Mm.
a teacher. But I'll be truthful with you, I did have an oracle card deck and I did have crystals in my classroom. These teenagers they're the star seeds on this planet, they are the future. And, you know, I used to share with them, don't go on your Ouija boards. Don't mess about with lower level spirit. Come to me if you need to and let me assist you. And many of them did, but we had to keep it quiet.
I mean, I
But
wish you were my teacher, okay? I'd be way into what I was learning.
I was there in
That's
pure
amazing.
service and pure love, and I wanted them, you know, to feel confident and empowered and have more understanding of the spiritual aspects of self. You know, I felt it was very important. I felt that's why I was placed in these classrooms. And interestingly enough, I'm a triple Aquarian, and most of my students who'd been, like, you know, excluded from school for various reasons, I did a little survey for myself. Most of them were Aquarian, and I thought, okay, I'm paying
Yeah.
attention here. I'm obviously here to help the Aquarian star seeds in, you know, the golden age of Aquarius. So not all of them were Aquarius, but quite a lot were.
And you being a teacher really makes sense. You have these threes from your birth name as the physical talent, and the three, is that teaching from the soul energy. So it's not a surprise that you ended up in the classroom. One thing that we kind of learn with this work is like teaching can come in many different forms, but yeah, it's definitely not a surprise that you ended up in that classroom there. And that also with that empowerment, you have those nines as your physical goals. And that's all about power. It's about, from a personal level, learning to overcome disempowerment. But then it is, eventually part of that can be about empowering others. So I totally see that coming through for you as well, and what you were just talking about there.
Yeah, that's it. Been huge in my life. And you know, learning not to put myself in disempowering situations or with disempowering people and relationships has been a big learning.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's no wonder I've got into, you know, New Earth Mastery Empowerment Coaching and Mentorship, because it really feels deeply personal and deeply important to my soul to help other beautiful souls who are feeling disempowered to come to that place of empowerment. And that might be doing, you know, I do quantum light healing. I've got my own galactic star heart, quantum light healing, celestial star healing systems, and angelic. I've been flowing angelic Reiki. Training for, oh goodness, about 20 years now around the planet. So through the, you know, healing modalities and through courses and mastery workshops and what have you, just helping people really connecting with self and flowing from true soul lessons. I just love helping beautiful souls connecting with their divine essence and their multidimensionality, and helping them to feel empowered so they may flow and flourish and, yeah, through this huge soul awakening journey, and actually enjoy it as well. Enjoy is really important. And yeah, we're here to fulfill a divine mission. We all have the role to play in what I call the grand ascension plan, and birthing of the new earth. But you know, it's so much more beautiful, isn't it, to be in divine flow and really start to feel happy and excited about who you are. So we work on the shadow side and help them, you know, release guilt and shame and old ancestral and, you know, karmic patterns and behaviors and programs and whatever they have been carrying forth. And so the shadow work greatly assists in releasing those old aspects and awakening to the new, birthing the new within. And I just love helping beautiful souls who are called to work with myself and my team of light, birthing the multidimensionality. I mean, goodness, we've had literally, you know, many of us have had literally hundreds, thousands of incarnations upon this planet and other planets, other star systems, other dimensional realities. And we hold a vast wealth of knowledge and wisdom within. So why keep yourself small and limited and disempowered? You know, we are here to shine our light so beautifully and brightly in our full multidimensional splendor and glory. So just to help them connect with their angelic, the angels who are working with them, their teams of light, their galactic star families, and helping people really unite the unification process within. I do a lot of that, uniting divine masculine, divine feminine, and just awakening those seed codes, those higher self seed codes that we all hold within our DNA, within our genetic makeup, you know, within the cosmic fabric of our being. And you know, it's so empowering to feel happy and confident with self, and know that you are here for a purpose. Finding out more about, you know, some of your lineage, multidimensional lineage, you know, galactic angelic lineage, and so say, for example, if you were high priestess or a priestess in Egypt, okay, what was your speciality there? Were you a seer? Were you the healer? You know, what was your role, and what are your specialist soul gifts your unique soul gifts that you are here to share with this world. And usually I say to people, we go and do the deep inner work, and whatever they love doing with a passion is usually what they're here to birth. And then it's so much easier, and you know, it's really authentic, then a beautifully soul aligned divine flow, and life becomes easier, life becomes more joyous. I was so serious as a child. I was serious growing up because I had this innate knowing that I was here for a purpose, and like I just always seemed to know that I was here in higher service. So I was quite serious in a lot of ways, and it's only in the past, say, I don't know, 10 years that I have opened my heart fully to allow joy in and know that it's okay to create birth in pure joy. And so life's become a lot more beautiful, a lot more easier. So I help others unleash the joy within. And you know, I'm a little bit silly as well. I've got a really good sense of humor, and so I might, you know, set them ascension tasks where they will just go out into nature and play and have fun and report back, and then we'll process that and help to release and do more shadow. And you know, it's just time to honor and celebrate our uniqueness and our oneness too, and really come together now and really love, support one another. And my first question, my first soul inquiry question every single morning is, how may I be of higher service today? And that is a very different frequency to be flowing from, rather than waking up, you know, worrying about the day ahead or feeling the anxiety, or, you know, it's the big one, isn't it? Not feeling good enough, not feeling deserving and worthy of the rich abundance that this beautiful mother,
Oh my God.
Earth Mother,
Jeanette,
has to share.
this four, I have to tell you, ever so much of what you're saying, I am just seeing the four energy. What about you, Yiannah? Are you seeing so much of the four? But especially what you have
Yes.
just said with this feeling worthy of abundance is the four energy to a T. I'm part of me is just like, I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. Like that is exactly the four energy. And a couple other things that you have said, you know, you've talked a lot about flow. Again, with the four, it's trusting in the flow of abundance from the universe. And are you feeling worthy of receiving that? So that flow, every time you talk about that flow, it's absolutely part of it. We already went over the trust aspect of it. Now you've hit the abundance aspect. And one other thing that you mentioned just recently, you know, being happy and confident. The four is also about confidence. You know, the four is the sun, it radiates and it has this confidence. And so, again, just so much of what you're saying, I'm just seeing that energy around you. And again, it's your physical karma, which means that this is like one of the primary lessons, and the lessons associated with this number are one of your main focuses and intentions for this lifetime. So it's so beautiful, just again in hearing your story, seeing how that really came to life for you and how that manifested in a really beautiful way and
Bless you.
how you're
Thank you so
embodying it.
much. Because I didn't actually know that much about my chart. And so thank
Yeah.
you so much. That is making
You
a lot
know,
of sense.
that worthiness too, and the word joy you used is also very much tied to that three energy.
Hmm.
That three energy is like this beautiful expressive energy. So your voice, were you shy when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah, but you've come into your voice and who you are. So this three, it does come with a bit of shyness. Like I can't speak my truth. I can't share what I'm feeling or what's going on in my childhood. And hopefully by the time you are in your adulthood, you have found your voice, and it is very much tied to that self-worth. We know that when we are in a place of worthiness, oh, now you're in a place of receiving, and universe is like, girlfriend, what do you want? You can have it. So stepping into that worthiness, but also coming from that place of joy, which is that 3 energy, that is the connection to what you're receiving, right? It's like because you also have all this 6 energy. The 6 energy is this creative energy. It's people who can take intangible thoughts and ideas and bring them to fruition. Great business energy, very artistic, all of that. But what's great about it is you are actually co-creating. When you do stuff, you co-create on a very spiritual level. And when you are working from that joy space, it's like you feel like you don't work a day in your life. And that's why I feel like I understand that whole waking up, and it's like the first thing I say every day is today's a good day. I don't care like what's going on. That is the first thought that pops into my head. And anytime I haven't had that thought first thing in the morning, I'm like, okay, what's going on? I may be tired, maybe like a lot going, but I'll go, no, no, no. Today is a good day, because coming from that is my joy. Coming from that joy and setting the tone and intention for the day, I know is going to help me continue to tap into all this beauty. So your 3 energy is that pure joy. It's also a very sensual energy, right? And you coming like from that space and you're co-creating. It's so creative. And it being in your soul destiny, you are just here to just co-create with source. Like, yes, you have businesses. Yes, you have different ventures you're in, but it is this beautiful co-creation energy. I'm trying to find the right words to like tap into it. But like you embody that. Like everything you do, the words you're saying, they're not just like this earth plane 3D, like what your day was like. You are always just so tapped in, and you're in constant co-creation. Like,
Bless you. Thank you. That, yeah, spot on. It just, I feel very honored. I feel very humbled, and it just makes my soul sing. And that is what I share with other beautifuls. I say, let's find what makes your soul sing. What makes your heart sing? What brings you the greatest joy? And let's flow and work with that divine flow, And it's important, because we're here, we're here to have a nice time too, and to, enjoy. I mean, look at this beautiful planet, our Earth Mother, and all that she provides for us. There's beauty all around us all the time, and it's tapping into the beauty and the magic of your soul, tapping into that joyous center within, that joyous essence that you truly are, and aligned in pure love. And that is all that is needed. And a lot of us give ourselves such a hard time. We are trying to be something to please another, or we feel, and until we really start doing this shadow work and this true embodiment work, higher self embodiment work, we for so many years have followed the patterns and enforced upon us by others, by the school system, the educational system. Maybe that's a discussion for another time, but by who you felt have been, the role models in your life. And so many of us have lived for years on this planet, believing we are somebody that we truly are not. And, to really feel into who you are. And that's why I'm such an advocate of soul inquiry, You won't get any answers, any true answers other than from your own soul. You know, so and just feeling yourself really unifying, and all of those aspects unifying within you is a very beautiful, again, I'll say the word empowering place to be, you know. And it's a journey. My goodness, who here has had a really easy journey? I don't know anybody in my life, my friends, my family, my colleagues. I don't know anybody who's had an easy, you know, ride of it. It's oh goodness.
You know, yeah, your spiritual triangle from your birth name is so much that journey energy. Yiannah already talked about the 15-6. So you have that as your spiritual karma and your spiritual talents. And so she talked about that being kind of this journey and discovery energy. You also, as your spiritual goals, have 14-5, which we've already done our deep dive on the 14-5. So people may remember this is a number that is about, you know, spending your life discovering who you are. And so as you're just talking about that, you know, you're kind of talking about how in a way you talk about that on like this collective level. But what about for yourself? I'm interested to hear a little bit more of, do you feel like there was also that journey for yourself of needing to discover who you are?
Yeah, most certainly. um Yeah, I had no idea, I don't think, fully who I was till I hit about 30 years of age. And
Saturn
then,
return for astrology
yes,
girlies, you know.
absolutely. And you know, it's that dedication, isn't it, to awakening, you know, and absolutely every time journeying within, and and also learning to be very truthful and very authentic with yourself. Don't tell yourself stories. Letting go. I mean, all of us have lived a lot of this lifetime in pure story. Okay. And you know, even the history of the planet and what have you taught in school, a story, a fabrication, the majority of it, not all. But yeah, and just I never really, the trust thing as well, what you were sharing earlier, like I never really
Yeah.
believed what anybody told me. So school for me didn't work unless I was in a lesson where I could be super creative. And like I always had the inner knowing that the truth was within me, and like so yeah, trusting what others were saying to me. I never really believed anybody, so again it just came
Yeah.
to me. Then I thought, oh, there was a big trust thing then going on there. But yeah, so what was your question? Sorry.
Well,
Just,
no, just about your journey of discovering yourself, but you
oh
just
yeah,
saying that
bless you.
actually with that 14-5, again, the five, you know, we've also
Yeah,
had our deep dive on the five, and we talked how
yeah,
much it's so much about truth and
yeah,
learning to recognize your own truth and speaking your truth. And
yeah,
so what you just shared, I feel like is both that 4 and 5 energy at play in that
yeah,
you so knew your own truth, it seems like, right? Which when you then heard other people saying something that you internally and very almost instantaneously were like, that's not my truth, made you then distrust, right? Because you're like, well, now I don't trust you because you're telling me that's the truth. I already know that's not my truth. And you know, when you don't yet have the structure to recognize, you know, that just because someone is telling you something that you can have your own truth that's different. You know, we I talk about this so much, you know, in our physical 3D world, we talk about truth as in it's this something that is objective, right? There is a singular truth. And yet in the spiritual world, and I think we can really bring that into the physical world more, truth is extremely subjective. It's all about what is your personal truth, and someone else can have their personal truth, and it is 100% true for them. And you have a different belief and a different truth, and it's 100% true for you. And both are true, right? On your individual personal level. And yet, that's not how we view truth in the physical 3D world. And I think we need to bring more of that spiritual perspective on the subjectivity, and that truth is something that is personal and not objective.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it really is being truthful with yourself.
Hmm.
That is where the journey starts, isn't it? And even saying anything like now during our discussion, like it's like, is that the truth? Or is that what I've believed to be true? So, the questioning of oneself is really important, really super important. Because, so have you ever said anything as you've been flowing through this awakening journey? It's come out of your mouth and you've thought, why did I say that? I don't even
Yeah.
really believe that. Where's that come from? Is that from my family? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's
Yeah.
been, it's just been very present and very mindful, isn't it? All of the time now. And, we've all awakened to such a great extent, on this journey of whatever you want to call it, 5D ascension or whatever you want to term it as, that there's no going back now, and there's no telling oneself stories, because it's just a waste of time and energy. And you just absolutely know, don't you, when you are flowing in integrity and honesty, and when you're not. And I think everybody over the years has tried to fit in with the peer group or the family, or at work or what have you, and they've tried to smile sweetly, but it's not for you, and it's not your divine flow. But and that's why I really feel for the teens, because being as one with their peer group is super important to them. But the starseed, you see, there's so many starseed children here on the planet. So many of us are starseeds, here to birth the new earth. And this is why a lot of children can't hack it or don't want to stay in the educational system now, because they just know that it is not truth that they are hearing. It's not universal truth. It's not the universal law of one. Yes, so again, that's probably a whole new conversation for another
Well,
time.
Oh, it could be.
what you just tapped into for you is within the letters of your name, you actually have the 10 and the 1 energy. Okay, the 10-1 is all about that integrity, right? Integrity is so important in stepping into that. It's this beautiful high vibrational frequency, but it's about being this service to others and natural healer. Okay, and it's like you help embody that. It's very highly intuitive, very connected, the highest frequency of all the modality. And what you also tapped into is that other part of the 5 frequency, which we didn't talk about. It's this free spirit. It's no, the 14-5 wants you to know, who am I? It's a reflection energy. You reflect on everything that happens. Why did I say that? What happened in my last relationship? Why did it go that way? Right? So you reflect and you really start to come into your most truest self. And then you're like, you know what? I don't care if somebody judges me. I am my own free spirit. I am like a free bird. I'm just going to be me. And stepping into that is also very much visionary and pioneering energies. That 5 is a star seed energy. Okay. So, but it's like it shows up for you. Like you just exude it. You're like, this is who I am in every cell of my being. You hide nothing. You just put it out there for people to pick up. And that is so beautiful. And you're like, I'm going to pave my own way on how I'm going to work, how I'm going to create, how I'm going to help awaken myself and others. And it's just like, it's such a beautiful representation of how that plays out from your soul contract chart into your life.
Oh, thank you so much. Bless you. It just makes me want to weep. I mean, I'm not playing at this. This is so important to me. And over years when people have sort of, occasionally given me a reading or what have you, usually spontaneous, and then that comes out, I do actually weep, because it is a true honor to be here, and we all are just doing so amazing. We're all really rocking it now, and we're on full power ahead, onwards and upwards now, aren't we? We're in that forward momentum 2024, and all of the planetary alignments and everything that's going on, and all that fiery, beautiful, powerful, majestic dragon energy as well, and everything is driving us forwards now. It's in even the retrograde, the Mercury retrograde at the moment, and the Aries conjunction, the Aries alignment. We're not being held back anymore. We're not even being held back by an old story about retrogrades. We know this is action time, even though we are honoring as well what is occurring with us. Sometimes we need to rest. Sometimes we are super inspired, and creation is just at its highest, flowing through our being, and we're like, yes, go forth, birth this, but it's the honoring as well, isn't it, of how the physical is almost catching up to the higher soul essence. Like, everything's got to be lighter, like this really high vibe Luma Vitae water that I drink. Everything we are putting into our vessel, and that is, food and water and energy, but also like, energy from what we're watching and what we're absorbing and what we're listening to, who we are choosing to share our time with and spend our time with. And everything is all, of course, interconnected, and but we are just really, really consciously aware now, aren't we? And have this deep knowing of whether that is the right way forwards for you. Whether that relationship is at an end, or whether it's, time to flow it into higher octave, whether that job is now the old version of you and we're ready to flow into the new. And, whether your location where you're physically living, is that still conducive as you are birthing the highest light aspect of you, bringing that new multidimensionality online? Or is it time to listen to the wise guidance within and flow with where we need to be, that highest soul, those higher soul activations? And it's like, so many people now are actually moving physical location. Do you know people who are, physically? And it's like, I released my contracts, my educational contracts, and I was running, meditation classes on an evening and doing all sorts of different things. And I was told very clearly, and this is about 2 years ago, to cut all of those contracts, so that I was I was open and ready to flow wherever I was guided to go to on the planet. And I'm honored, I'm blessed, I'm lucky in a way. I've created my own luck in terms of being able to hear the call and flow and do the divine mission. I've not birthed children in this lifetime. I love children so much, love them, adore them, absolutely. I've got all the time in the world to help guide them forwards, birthing this new earth. And I've got beautiful nieces and nephews who I absolutely love in my family. But that was not the way for me in this lifetime. And that's good. I've never felt like I've missed out. It wasn't my timeline to do that. So I've my soul has ensured that we have created a lifestyle, a way of being and doing where it's very free flowing.
Right. Nothing's holding you down. You're able to
Nothing.
create and do and go
Yeah.
and be as you wish, right?
Yeah, so that was the freedom coming in. I mean, now I still run wild in the woods. I go
Mm.
barefoot. I run wild. I hug trees. I become one. I jump into water whenever I can out in nature. I really am, you know, deeply connected with nature, as we all are, nature. And I let the inner child play and have fun, which she might not have felt comfortable doing when I was younger. And excuse me, I've just been out in nature now. I shared with you earlier, didn't I? And
Yes.
I feel like I inhaled something as as I were running and playing and having fun. So today I went and hugged my favourite silver birch, beautiful, beautiful mother tree, and paddled in beautiful crystalline waters in the stream, and there's a waterfall there. And so it's vital for us, isn't it, to connect daily with Mother Nature and ensure that balance and harmony within, because of course we are made of all of the essence of Mother Nature, aren't we? And yeah, so I might have just gone off slightly on tangent, so you'll see in my
That
chat, you may need to just rein me in a little.
No, no, no. Listen, you've been talking about nature since we began, and you do have these eights in your chart, and the eights are all about connecting to that mother nature. It's that water, right? You also have that 13-4. It's that water connection. It's emotions. It's like you hugging that tree makes complete sense. You jumping into that water, it's like soothing, right? It's very much connected to the body. And I want to ask you a question. Do you tend to let things go, or do you hold on to them? Or
Oh
at
no.
some point in your life you held on and now you're like, I'm done.
I'm sure when I was younger, I held on, but no,
Yeah.
everything free flowing now. I hold on to nothing at all, and just, forgiveness or whatever is required at that moment in time, and just know. I don't know. I've never really felt that I've held on. Ah, emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally, I think when I was younger, that was when I sort of challenged myself, I think, when I worried and really felt deeply. I feel I'm such a sensient, I feel really deep. And if somebody said something hurtful when I was a kid or something, it was like I couldn't understand it, because my essence was really quite pure, and I couldn't understand that. So I think if I held on to anything, it was surrounding emotion when I was younger, but definitely not now. And like you picked up earlier, I mean, it sounds awful, really, but it's true. I really couldn't care less what anybody thinks about me. I just show up in truth and, in
Yeah.
purity the best way I can. This is who I am. This is,
And that is so beautiful. And I think one thing we haven't touched on with that 5 energy you have is they're very sensitive. So maybe when you're younger, people say, okay, you're sensitive, you hurt my emotions and I'm crying. But really, it's that sensitivity to be able to sense the spirit world, that connection, that energy. It's like you could feel people's emotions. You probably process people's emotions too, because you're able to tap into the collective energy. And it is important then to also know am I processing my stuff or somebody else's stuff? Like being able to walk into a room and be like, oh, this heaviness is coming from that exact person in that exact corner of the room. That is a gift that you have. And once you're able to, I think, tap into that, which for you was so early on. I mean, hello, like I'm not jealous of people. Jealousy is not a thing that I feel, but I'm like, man, I wish that I was able to
yeah.
do that at such a young age. And I think I experienced a lot of things that I just didn't even know that that's what I was experiencing. And you were very blessed to have a mother who was also very tapped in, in my family, other than my mother, who was very spiritual, we didn't discuss and we didn't share, like nobody talked about it. And I didn't have that somebody in my life to help me through that. So I know I experienced a few things where now I'm like, oh, that was me tapping in. But as a kid, I didn't make the connection. I probably shut it down. I'm sure society shut it down for me. So for you to be so tapped in your entire life and be aware of it is what a gift. I mean, what a gift.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, we are all tapped in all the time, aren't we? But yeah, you know, I mean, my mum didn't understand it at that time, not for a lot of years, but it's just a support, isn't it? And you know, feeling safe enough and trusting enough to be able to voice what's happening for you. You know, especially if there's some scary stuff as a child, it's super important to be able to share that, isn't it? And receive that support. You know, so yeah, bless you. And you know, we all have had so many different incarnations, haven't we? And
Mhm.
I mean, that's, you know, past is past, but I think focusing on the now and the here and now and this present moment is what an absolute gift and what an absolute blessing it is to be incarnate now, because things are really moving forward. So,
Yeah.
you know, something
Yeah.
can happen to you in your life and in the blink of an eye, you are changed forever. And that is the catalyst frequency now, isn't it? And, you know, so it's so beautiful to witness, feel for self and witness with others, you know, who I'm working with, and, you know, and just see that beautiful unfolding and all those seeds now, source seeds, star seeds, you know, whatever you call them, all of those seeds now are starting to literally come online. You know, when you're ready, you know, the master appears, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the external, is it? Like we used to always think it was. You are your own master, and so therefore these teachings are starting to awaken now, and this knowing, and you know, and these beautiful seeds are starting to grow and blossom, and you know, it just feels so beautiful, doesn't it? I've not had
It
an
does.
easy incarnation, let me tell you. There's been a lot of struggle and strife, you know, but I just kept flowing with it, kept working through stuff, and just always keeping in the core power of trusting thyself. And you
Mm.
know, it goes back to that again. But yeah, so you know, we're in unprecedented times upon this planet. Everything is new. And you know, I share with others, if you've said something you're not particularly proud of, if you've responded in a way you weren't overly happy with, you know, if you found yourself in a situation like, no, I won't be doing that again, that's okay. You know, I honestly, truly believe in what I call this wow now moment. You can just rebirth, you can just choose, you know,
Yeah.
commit to thyself and choose, make that commitment and say, okay, this occurred, it's okay, don't judge myself, don't criticize myself, I just love myself through all that arises, all is well, it's
Mm.
okay, it's okay, you
Those
know.
fours.
Yeah. Is it? And just rebirth, you know,
Yeah.
like the phoenix out of the flames. Just make a choice. Say, okay, that was 1 minute ago. I'm no longer that frequency. Okay, let's rebirth. And honestly, that is the power that we have, the power, you know, that we are. And just, I've never, you know, sort of, whilst I've really been on this very, very full-time journey. So, you know, like for the last, oh goodness, 15 years, I haven't been in education. So I've been able to fully dedicate, you know, to the spiritual work that the divine is asking of me. And just, yeah. Sorry, if I look over here, I'm getting information coming through, or quite often, if I'm not looking at the camera, I look here, there. Even when I'm doing the readings and healings, and and the soul mastery sessions and what have you with people, I say, don't think I'm rude if I'm like here. But yeah, everything is new. Everything is new, and don't be afraid to step into that newness of your life. Don't be afraid. Don't be in fear, and let fear hold you back and keep you in that position of feeling stuck or limited or small, inadequate. Who am I to have a voice? Who am I to be deserved? No. That is such an old 3D frequency. So why not just make the commitment to yourself today and say, today I choose. It's very empowering frequency. Today I choose. Today I choose. And just keep at that. And you'll notice a great shift. Your vibrational frequency immediately go whoosh, really heighten, and all your senses will come alive and creation will flow through your being. Your heart will glow and expand. And you feel that love and passion. You know what it's like, don't you? I share with people that I don't flow forwards with anything until I feel that heart expansion. When I feel it and my heart glows and expands with love, with light, whatever you say, and I feel it, I'm like, yes, that's my big yes. And if I don't feel it,
I love that.
Well,
That is beautiful.
yeah.
What a beautiful way to wrap everything up. We are so appreciative. Thank you for sharing your journey and your gifts and just your presence with us. Why don't you let our listeners know where they can find you?
oh, thank you so much. Honoured to be here, beloveds. Honoured, and thank you so much for inviting me and for letting me have a voice. So website www.angelicascension.co.uk. All social media, including YouTube, is Angelic Jeanette, She Who Ra, or Angelic Jeanette, She Who Ra on Instagram. One. And so may I just throw something in quickly?
Yes.
We've been called to a 5D planetary ascension mission in Egypt for the 888. It's the triple, it's the Trinfinity 888 Lionsgate portal opening. So we're going on the 29th of July to the 9th of August this year. And we'd be absolutely honoured if you feel the call of Mother Egypt. She is calling us home. She's calling for our assistance. We are going to clear the energies, the lines, many lines, which I can share with you, the earth grids. And we are going to be bringing the new golden universe frequencies via the cosmic star grids and newly birth the earth star grids. So we're going to be bringing so much amazing, incredible new 5D ascension frequency online for humanity in this planet. This is a big deal. This is the biggest mission I've been called to date. So if you hear the call of Mother Egypt, or you feel the resonance here, please do connect with me, and I'll be honoured to share more with you. And bless you and thank you.
Beautiful.
More the merrier. We need more people, and to really amplify that light.
Wonderful. Well, Jeanette, you really do have such beautiful energy, and we would love to hear from everyone, what you have taken away from this conversation. So head over to our Instagram and let us know. That's the Let's Talk Vibes podcast on Instagram. Or if you want to know what numbers you have in your own chart, if you have some of the same numbers as Jeanette, Head over to our website, theltvpodcast.com, to get a free version of your chart.
And as always, everybody, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment on our content. It is the best way to support us, and we greatly appreciate it. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye.
Bye.